I think the two mics are on, therefore there is an echo. So the three issues that have been lined up for discussion are very important and very pertinent, because we are talking about opportunities and challenges pertaining to higher education system in light of national education policy. This policy is considered to be path-breaking, something which will be revolutionizing our education system. So flexibility is the core. और जब हम फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी की बात करें तो सबसे पहले बात आती है मल्टीपल एंट्री एंड एग्जिट सिस्टम. आज तक क्या होता था, देयर हैज बीन सो मच ड्रॉप आउट. जब कुछ लोग, बिकॉज दे आर नॉट सो प्रिविलेज दैट दे कैन डू हायर एजुकेशन, दे हैव टू forego the opportunity cost. अगर वो हायर एजुकेशन में नहीं होंगे तो कुछ ना कुछ अर्न कर रहे हैं. In that case, since they are to forego the opportunity cost, उनके लिए बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है to pursue their education. So क्या है, अब उनको ये option मिल गई that courses will be framed in the manner that one can exit at a point of time where he or she considers कि अब उनके बस की बात नहीं है कि वो आगे कंटिन्यू कर सके. तो बहुत सारा जो हमारा ग्रॉस एनरोलमेंट रेशियो के लिए लेके हमारे पॉलिसी के अंदर बात की गई है that it has to be enhanced, शायद उसको देखा जाए. अब not only this, ये multiple entry and exit जो होगा, it will not be only in institution. It will be within the organization and outside the organization. सबसे बढ़िया बात यह है कि आप 1 साल करते हैं तो आपको सर्टिफिकेट मिल जाता है, 2 साल में आपको डिप्लोमा मिल जाता है, 3 साल में आपको डिग्री मिल जाती है और 4 साल में ऑनर्स या डिग्री विद रिसर्च मिलती है. तो अगर आपकी पसंद की कोई चीज नहीं है तो अपॉर्चुनिटी है that you can always think and plan to move somewhere else. और अगर आपकी पसंद की है तो आप परस्यू कीजिए और जिस लेवल तक आप जाना चाहें आप जा सकते हैं. एक और बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी ये है that there is academic bank of credit. This academic bank of credit क्या है, जैसे हम अपने बैंक में पैसा जमा कराते हैं, इसी तरह हम जो हमने एजुकेशन ली है उससे रिलेटेड क्रेडिट्स हम जमा करा सकते हैं और बाद में अपनी डिग्री को डिजाइन कर सकते हैं कि मुझे इतने क्रेडिट्स के बाद, जैसे मान लीजिए अगर मान लिया गया कि 100 क्रेडिट्स के ऊपर आप एक बैचलर्स डिग्री ले सकते हैं, तो accumulating it from various sources you can have your own degree which you have tailor made for yourself based on your interest. बहुत बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी है, लेकिन चैलेंज भी इसके साथ बहुत बड़ा है. Are we ready for this kind of change? सबसे पहली बड़ी बात है mindset. The mindset of Indian education is such. When I say of Indian education, मैं include करूँगी society, parents, teachers, institutions जो employment दे रहे हैं. They always link every ability with the degree. हालांकि national policy on education has talked about delinking degrees with jobs, लेकिन हम क्या चाहते हैं कि हमारे पास वैसे लोग आए जो बहुत ज्यादा डिग्री ले हुए. और हमसे पहले जो अभी बात कर रहे थे वोकेशनल एजुकेशन की, उन्होंने कहा कि फ्यूज तक फिक्स करना नहीं आता एक IIT के इंजीनियर. If these kinds of degrees are being produced because there is no interface with the life, no interface with the industry, आप 12 साल बच्चे को CBSE बोर्ड में पढ़ा रहे हैं, आप एक ऐसी स्किल बताइए जो उसने अपनी जिंदगी के लिए सीखी. आप उसे एक अच्छा इंसान बना सके, आप उसे एक अच्छा बेटा, पति, बेटी, बीवी, बहन, भाई कुछ के लिए भी तैयार कर सके. नो, इट वाज जस्ट एकेडमिक्स जो कि बिल्कुल कट ऑफ था फ्रॉम द फोर वॉल्स ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. क्या होता है, आपने बच्चे को बहुत अच्छे तरीके से सिखाया कि आपको ये कमरा पेंट करना है, आप छत का एरिया निकालिए, जमीन का एरिया निकालिए, खिड़कियों का एरिया निकालिए, उसको माइनस करिए और टोटल में से निकालिए. लेकिन जब जिंदगी में बात आती है, व्हाट डू दे आस्क, आई एम अनएजुकेटेड. मैं अनएजुकेटेड नहीं कहती, मैं बोल सकती हूँ कि जो लिटरेट नहीं है उससे पूछते हैं और वो अच्छे से कैलकुलेट करके बताता है. इस वजह से क्या होगा, मल्टीपल एंट्री और एग्जिट से ये हो जाएगा कि मेरे इंटरेस्ट की चीज नहीं है, so I can leave it in between and try to do something else which suits me, and at the same time I can बैंक ऑन दोज क्रेडिट्स विच आई हैव ऑलरेडी ऑब्टेन। और ये जो एकेडमिक बैंक ऑफ क्रेडिट है उसके अंदर भी एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज हो जाएगा। देखिए अभी हमसे पहले जो स्पीकर्स थे उन्होंने भी एक बहुत बड़ी बात रेज की, that was related to non-attending students. There are many organizations who are giving degrees by making students not attend the institution. इससे दो तरह के फायदे होते हैं, एक आपको फैकल्टी एम्प्लॉय नहीं करनी पड़ती, दूसरा आपको बच्चा ज्यादा पैसा देता है। लेकिन इस चक्कर में क्या हो जाता है, आपके पास ऐसे लोग क्वालिफाइड गिने जाते हैं जिनके पास कोई स्किल नहीं है, कोई एबिलिटी नहीं है। तो ऐसे लोगों के लिए आप बंद कर नहीं रहे, उनको जो भी एक्रेडिशन अथॉरिटीज हैं उनसे एक्रेडिशन भी मिले हुए हैं, NEP के ग्रेड बहुत हाई है, लेकिन उनके जो बच्चे हैं वो बहुत बढ़िया नहीं है। ये बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है जब आप एकेडमिक बैंक ऑफ क्रेडिट कर रहे हैं, हाउ टू इक्वेट डिग्रीज ऑफ वेरियस इंस्टीट्यूशंस। बिकॉज जब आप एम्प्लॉयमेंट के लिए लेते हैं अपने पास कोई स्टूडेंट या कोई प्रोस्पेक्टिव एम्प्लॉय, यू ऑलवेज चेक कि उसको कुछ आता भी है या सिर्फ डिग्री है। लेकिन जब आप एकेडमिक बैंक ऑफ क्रेडिट में क्रेडिट्स जमा करा के कहीं से भी क्रेडिट लिया हुआ है, तो हमको इसके लिए कोई फुल प्रूफ मैकेनिज्म निकालना होगा, वेयर वी कैन से दैट द चाइल्ड व्हाटएवर ही और शी हैज अर्न्ड रियली ओन्स इट, उसे आता भी है। वरना अभी हमने कोरोना टाइम में देखा क्या हो रहा था, दो पीपल वर ट्राइंग टू प्रॉक्टर, जब तक अंदर से नहीं आता तो वो चीज नहीं बनती है। बच्चों ने क्या किया हुआ था, the mobiles were in front of them, they were sleeping with mobiles on their side, everybody was enjoying। लेकिन इस तरह से क्या होगा अगर हम इसको कंटिन्यू रखेंगे, अल्टीमेटली क्वालिटी ऑफ एजुकेशन विल गो डाउन एंड डाउन एंड डाउन, और हमारे बच्चों का पढ़ना ना पढ़ना बराबर होगा। तो डिग्रीज की जो पॉलिसी कह रही है कि डीलिंक करिए, अपने आप ही डीलिंक हो जाएगी, बिकॉज आपको पता है कि डिग्री होने के बावजूद भी तो कुछ नहीं है। ये सब चीजें हमें सोचनी पड़ेंगी, ये सब ना हो जाए तो ये बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है जो एकेडमिक बैंक ऑफ क्रेडिट कह देना एबीसी, इस एबीसी को पूरी तरह से समझना, चिंतन करना, आत्मचिंतन मंथन करना बहुत जरूरी है। बहुत अच्छी बात यह है कि वोकेशनल और एकेडमिक के अंदर आप यू आर ट्राइंग टू नॉट पुट देम इन वाटर टाइट कंपार्टमेंट्स, एक फ्लूइडिटी ला रहे हैं कि इधर से उधर जा सकते हैं। ऐसा ही होना चाहिए। ऐसा नहीं है अगर किसी ने साइंस ले ली तो उसकी जिंदगी नीरस हो जाए, वो म्यूजिक नहीं देख सकता या पेंटिंग नहीं कर सकता, होना ऐसा चाहिए। लेकिन अब ये भी देखना, इसी के साथ जुड़ा हुआ मुद्दा जो है वो है चॉइस बेस्ड क्रेडिट सिस्टम। चॉइस का मतलब होता है चॉइस जो मैं चूज करूं। लेकिन अगर आप बहुत सारी यूनिवर्सिटीज या इंस्टीट्यूशंस में देखें, व्हाट वुड यू फाइंड कि उनको जेनेरिक, इलेक्टिव और कोर चॉइसेस में से जबरदस्ती थोप दी जाती है। ये इंग्लिश कम्युनिकेशन का कोर्स है, ये तो सभी को करना पड़ेगा। ये मैनेजमेंट का कोर्स है, ये तो सभी को करना पड़ेगा। अगर आपने चॉइस की बात की है तो यू विल हैव टू सी जो आपने नए नए चीजें, नई नई अपॉर्चुनिटीज आपने प्रॉमिस की हैं अपनी पॉलिसी में। फॉर एग्जांपल मूक्स, स्वयं हैज बीन अ प्लेटफॉर्म विच स्टूडेंट्स आर यूटिलाइजिंग क्वाइट फ्रीक्वेंटली, और बहुत ज्यादा इसका फायदा भी हो रहा है। लेकिन आपको देखना पड़ेगा कि आप वो कोर्सेज अलाउ करेंगे या नहीं। यूनिवर्सिटीज ने क्या किया कि एक डिपार्टमेंट ये कोर्स करेगा, ये दूसरा डिपार्टमेंट ये करेगा। हुआ क्या, बच्चा जो है he or she has become overburdened। हम यही करते हैं कि ऑक्सफोर्ड में ये है, येल में ये कोर्स है, सारे कोर्सेज लिए सारे कोलेट कर और हमारे बच्चों के ऊपर डाल दिए। इसी की वजह से क्या हो जाता है कि चॉइस है नहीं बच्चे के पास। आज आप एक एक्सपेरिमेंट करके देखिए, जिस बच्चे ने जोन सी भी क्लास की, अगर वो सेकेंड ईयर में है, आप उससे बोलिए आज हम आपसे फर्स्ट ईयर का क्वेश्चन पूछने वाले हैं, वो जोर से किताब बंद करके कहते हैं भाई नहीं ये तो हो गया। बिकॉज एजुकेशन हमने चॉइस बेस्ड रखी नहीं, कहीं पे फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी रखी नहीं, स्टूडेंट सेंट्रिक है ही नहीं। और उससे भी बड़ी बात कि हमने जो प्रोडक्ट बनाया, जो हमने आउटपुट दिया, उसकी एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी है ही नहीं। हमारे रिपोर्ट कार्ड्स के अंदर क्या आ रहा है, मार्क्स के अंदर आपके कितने, सब्जेक्ट्स के अंदर आपके कितने मार्क्स हैं, लेकिन मेरे में जो स्किल्स डेवलप हुई वो कहीं नहीं आ रही। जो आप 21st सेंचुरी स्किल्स की बात करते हैं वो कहीं पे नहीं आ रही, जैसे क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, कोलैबोरेशन। छोटे से बच्चे से पूछिए कि तुम्हारा फ्रेंड होमवर्क पूछ रहा था, कहते बिल्कुल नहीं बताना, मुझे आगे निकलना। कट थ्रॉट कंपटीशन हमने इतना ज्यादा डाल दिया। क्या यही हमारे समाज में होना चाहिए? इज दिस दैट स्किल विच वी वांट टू प्रमोट? तो जब आप चॉइस की बात करते हैं, जब मल्टीपल एंट्री एग्जिट की बात करते हैं, तो सबसे पहले माइंडसेट चेंज करने की जरूरत है, जिसके बारे में पॉलिसी ने बहुत अच्छी बात कही है। डाइवर्सिटी को रिकॉग्नाइज करना और डाइवर्सिटी को ऑनर करना। अभी तक क्या है कि हम स्कूल और कॉलेजेस के अंदर एक फिक्स करिकुलम है जो हर बच्चे ने करना, हर बच्चे ने करना है, मतलब उसे मैथ्स में भी अच्छा होना है, इंग्लिश में भी अच्छा होना है, और आपने चॉइसेस भी दे दी तो भी आप इंस्टीट्यूशन के हिसाब से कहते हैं कि यही चॉइसेस आर अवेलेबल। तो एक आपने देखो ना मेल्टिंग पॉट जैसा होता है, जैसे अगर आप दाल चढ़ाएं या चावल चढ़ाएं, एक दाना उठा के देख सकते हैं और आप कह सकते हैं पक गया या नहीं। इसी तरह हमारी क्लास के अंदर भी हम देखते हैं कि जो हमारे बच्चे हैं वो सब वो वाली चीजें सीख गए या नहीं जो हम सिखाना चाहते हैं। पर पूरी दुनिया के अंदर मल्टीकल्चरलिज्म के अंदर ये बात हो रही है कि वी आर डिफरेंट एंटिटीज। हमें एक दूसरे के अंदर जो खासियत है वो समझनी और उसको इम्पोर्टेंस देनी होगी। प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि हम सबको एक जैसा बनाना चाहते हैं। शायद हम में से जो काफी बड़े हैं, हमारे टाइम में तो कहा जाता था खेलोगे कूदोगे होगे खराब, पढ़ोगे लिखोगे बनोगे नवाब। माइंडसेट इज चेंजिंग। आप स्पोर्ट्स को, करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज को मेन उसके अंदर ला रहे हैं। मैं ऐसा क्यों कह रही हूँ, क्योंकि जब आप चॉइस बेस्ड की कह रहे हैं और मल्टीपल एंट्री और एग्जिट की बात कर रहे हैं, these things are also becoming important, they are being recognized। ये तक कहा गया कि आप मेडिकल स्टूडेंट हैं तो आप म्यूजिक साथ में ले सकते हैं, लेकिन चैलेंज ये रहेगा कि अगर उसने म्यूजिक लिया है लेकिन उसे प्रोफेशनल कोर्स में वो जो कंपोनेंट्स हैं आ जाने चाहिए। आप ऑपरेशन थिएटर में म्यूजिक को एज स्ट्रेस बस्टर तो यूज कर सकते हैं, लेकिन जो एक स्किल आपके पास होनी चाहिए थी बीइंग अ डॉक्टर, वो अगर आपके पास नहीं है, यू कांट प्ले विद द लाइव्स ऑफ द चिल्ड्रन। तो चॉइस को सही मायने में चॉइस रखिए, और मल्टीपल एंट्री और एग्जिट के लिए वी हैव टू थिंक मैकेनिज्म्स, जहां पे हम ये कह सकें कि ये चीजें पैरेलल हैं, एट पार हैं, और इसको हम एकेडमिक बैंक में डिपॉजिट करा सकते हैं। यानी जो जो नई नई अपॉर्चुनिटीज आ रही हैं हमारे सामने, चाहे वो मूक है या ब्लेंडेड लर्निंग है, या आज हमने बात की नेशनल रिसर्च फाउंडेशन की बात हो रही थी जो ये डिसाइड करेगी कि किन चीजों के ऊपर रिसर्च करनी है। हमारी कंट्री में डेटा डजंट टॉक टू ईच अदर। अगर आप मल्टीपल एंट्री और एग्जिट करके भी वही हाल करने वाले हैं जो इंजीनियरिंग ग्रेजुएट्स का हो रहा है, या आज मैंने एक प्लेटफॉर्म के ऊपर एनसीटी के चेयरपर्सन को ये कहते हुए सुना, वी प्रोड्यूस सो मेनी सरप्लस टीचर्स एवरी ईयर। इफ दिस इज द कंडीशन, how can we give education to our children who would be unemployed throughout their life? और हम ऐसा ही कर रहे हैं, we are producing children who are unemployed। उनको मल्टीपल एग्जिट दीजिए, ये करके आइए फिर कुछ और कीजिए, so that they can get into certain vocations। ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि बस यही होगा। और आप जो मेक इन इंडिया कह रहे हैं, कम से कम पॉलिसीज शुड टॉक टू ईच अदर एंड द रिजल्ट ऑफ पॉलिसीज शुड टॉक टू ईच अदर। अब हम बात करते हैं कॉन्टिन्यूअस एंड कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इवैल्यूएशन की। ओके, मैं एक डेढ़ मिनट में आई विल कंक्लूड। हम कॉन्टिन्यूअस एंड कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इवैल्यूएशन की बात करते हैं। याद कीजिए, आपका और मेरा टाइम, हम तो साल में 3 बार होते थे कि भाई फर्स्ट टर्मिनल एग्जाम हुआ, हाफ ईयरली हुआ और फाइनल हुआ। आजकल का बच्चा सारी जिंदगी रोता है, क्यों? मंडे टेस्ट के नाम पे आप उसकी सारा साल, चाहे क्लास में आप स्कूल में हैं या फिर कॉलेज में, throughout the year you are giving exams, exam and exam। तो क्या हो रहा है? सीखने के लिए नहीं है, सिर्फ अंग्रेजों में जो पास और फेल करे उसके लिए आप एग्जाम्स ले रहे हैं। अगर एग्जाम का फायदा ये होता कि बच्चे को सिखाया जाता गलती क्या है और उससे सुधारो, वो नहीं है। रेमेडियल क्लास में फिर से सारा कोर्स दोबारा पढ़ा दिया जाएगा। यकीन मानिए, जितना हमें बच्चा बेवकूफ लगता है, इसे ये भी नहीं समझ आ रहा, उतना ही बेवकूफ बच्चे को हम लग रहे होते हैं। अरे भाई, यही तो मैं कह रहा हूँ, ये ठीक नहीं। But we are not ready to understand this. This kind of education system has to change। अगर comprehensive की बात कर रहे हैं तो मैंने खैर सोचा था कि I would be speaking on various issues, जिसमें self assessment, peer assessment की बात करते। Because of shortage of time, if time permits, we will come again. Thank you. That was it. A post-lunch session is always difficult because the tummies are full. But I'll try to make it as engaging as possible.
there are three things. First of all, I think as Indians, and I say with a lot of responsibility, we are very good in policy planning. We are fantastic planners, be it the 5-year plans, be it the National Policy of Education, be it 1986 policy, or be it NEP 2020. It all looks very good on paper, right? But the problem is when you come to implementation. India has always grappled, हमेशा जब भी जूझे तो इसी कारण जूझे कि जब हम किसी चीज को कार्यान्वित करते हैं हम वहां या तो हमारी मंशा ही खराब होती है क्योंकि अभी तक तो हम यही बोलते आ रहे हैं ना 6% GDP should be allocated to education. Even a small country like Israel allocates no GDP, right? And India by far has reached just 3.1%, 0.1. Unless the allocation changes, you can't have much on the ground. Choice-based credit system. It looks very good. Definitely, it will offer a lot of flexibility. There is no doubt about it. अगर मुझे choice होती तो मैं भी म्यूजिक सुनती, ठीक है, मैं भी डांस सुनती, लेकिन आप एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट जो प्रश्न उसमें से आता है, आप कितनी चॉइस देंगे, किस हद तक चॉइस देंगे, वो चॉइस उस हद तक नहीं होनी चाहिए कि आगे बच्चे को जाके ये ना पता चले कि अब मैं क्या करूं. Are you ready to employ that child who has taken physics, music, dance, economics, and Hindi together? If yes, where is that employment? So this choice has to be given very, very, very responsibly, point one. Because please remember, we are talking of the undergraduate level. We do not have career counseling in our schools. ज्यादातर लोग जिस वोकेशन या जिस प्रोफेशन में लैंड करते हैं वो वहां लैंड नहीं करना चाहते थे. They have landed by default, either because of peer pressure or either because of parents, right? So one, crystal clarity with reference to which subject will go with which subject, whether we are talking of the core subjects, whether we are talking of the electives, and third, whether we are talking of the skill enhancement subjects. This clarity is important, right? Because the policy says, for example, in case of the compulsory component of skill enhancement, you will have English, Hindi, or modern Indian language, and environmental science will be there for you as a compulsory thing. And total, they've said, I'm now going to come to multiple entry and exit. Again, appears very rosy, multiple entry and exit. That, well, if you're dropped down, you won't be asked that why the gap year, right? Your admission will not have to be condoned. You won't have to give a justification that इतना gap year था हम इसलिए वापस आ रहे हैं. बहुत सारे बच्चे और स्पेशली बच्चियों को ये दिक्कत आती है. लेकिन सवाल उसमें ये, जब आप ये कहते हैं 1 साल के बाद जब आप इस तंत्र में से निकलेंगे तो आपको सर्टिफिकेट मिलेगा, 2 साल के बाद आप इस तंत्र में से निकलेंगे तो आपको डिप्लोमा मिलेगा, 3 साल के बाद इस तंत्र में से निकलेंगे तो आपको डिग्री मिलेगी, और 4 साल के बाद बेटा निकलोगे तो ऑनर्स की डिग्री मिलेगी. बहुत बढ़िया, excellent. You're including the research component at the undergraduate level. That is good. It is understandable. But the point is, that student who passes out after 1 year with a certificate, and that student who passes out after 2 years with a diploma, you will have to create avenues, either in the vocational field or otherwise. Otherwise, I'm sorry to say, ladies and gentlemen, you are just creating educated unemployment. And I think we'll be miserably failing in our duty. Unemployment is already staring at us much, right? So it's extremely important that we do it with a lot of responsibility. The templates which universities make has to be done very responsibly. Which subject combination has to go with which? कितनी flexibility? आप भानुमति का पिटारा मत बना दीजिए कि बेटा जो चाहे चुन लो और उसके बाद उसको नौकरी ना मिले. Then you are responsible for the mess you are creating. I think these are some very important concerns which I thought it's important to flag. Third, continuous comprehensive evaluation. आपको अच्छी तरह पता है कि CBSE ने ये लॉन्च किया था और मैं उस टाइम CBSE में थी, तो मुझे उसकी वस्तुस्थिति अच्छी तरह से मैं वाकिफ हूँ कि क्या हुआ. हमने टीचर्स को ही नहीं समझा पाए कंटिन्यूअस कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इवैल्यूएशन क्या है और अल्टीमेटली वो स्कूल में फेल हुआ, बिकॉज वी हैव नॉट येट अंडरस्टूड how continuous comprehensive evaluation goes together with the no detention policy. If you look at this stage, continuous comprehensive evaluation was instituted because we wanted to actually look at the progress of the child. कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव तो छोड़ दीजिए, कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव का मतलब अभी तक हमें नहीं पता, कंटिन्यूस का पता लग गया कि धुआंधार परीक्षा लेके चल। और उसके बाद हमारे मिनिस्टर विजिट करते हैं फिनलैंड को, which is supposed to be the best education system in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, they don't evaluate formally till the age of 16. It's not a system which is examination driven and which is hinges itself on rote memorization. रट्टा मार आगे चल। हम सोचते हैं एनुअल से वापस आके हम ज्यादातर जो फर्स्ट रो में बैठे हैं एनुअल वाले और जो पीछे हैं वो सेमेस्टर वाले, राइट बच्चे। आई मीन द पॉइंट इज वेदर यू हैव द एनुअल, वेदर you have the semester, you will have to change your examination system to have questions on critical thinking. Then the teaching will be hinged on critical thinking. Otherwise, nothing is going to change because the system is examination driven, right? Comprehensive. Are you assessing the skills? No. Are you assessing the attitudes? No. Are you assessing the critical thinking? No. What do? You see the 10-year papers of the CBSE with reference to high order thinking skills. कि कौन-कौन से क्वेश्चन आते हैं और उसी के हिसाब से बच्चों की तैयारी कराई जाती है। We do not know the meaning of comprehensive means which covers all aspects of the personality, on the basis of which you develop the cumulative report card. Same is the case with the universities. We have still not understood the meaning of continuous comprehensive evaluation. It is to gauge, it is for diagnosis. Where is the student lacking? कहाँ उसको कठिनाई है, कहाँ उसको चैलेंज है। It is about hand holding, कि जहां वो अटके हम उसको ब्रिज कोर्स में या रेमेडियल इंस्ट्रक्शन में उसको आगे लेके चले। ऐसा कहीं होता है क्या? The premier universities don't have it, what we talk of the others. So please think about it. It is a very rosy picture, choice-based credit system. It is a very rosy picture, multiple entry and exit, with a lot of flexibility. But we also have to be very, very clear. After exit, what? How much flexibility and how much do we go with reference to continuous comprehensive evaluation so that we prevent dropout, we prevent failure and real learning take place. सिर्फ एक syllabus में आप learning objective बना दो, जी हम map करेंगे learning outcomes, सिर्फ mapping से कुछ नहीं होता। The point is, we are sometimes failing to understand, the most important person in any institution is the teacher and the taught. The most important ingredients. And one last flag. Nothing can substitute. I totally agree with Sir Raj, who said that nothing can substitute face-to-face interaction. The UGC says that 40% of the courses should be offered by MOOCs, massive open online courseware. Ladies and gentlemen, students have started their MOOCs in January. We have already implemented it. The result is not out till yet. We have to change the curriculum, shift the MOOCs from the 4th semester to the 3rd semester, because otherwise the 4th year students, final year semester students will not pass out. They will lose a year. That is the status of affairs. And the National Testing Agency is conducting the examinations. So these are ground realities which we have to look into so that we can actually implement it in letter and spirit. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Now I request Professor Mona Silva to her presentation.
Thank you so much to the organizers, to all my colleagues on the dais. Since most of the points have been covered as far as the topic is concerned, I'll flag the things in the context of challenges and opportunities for higher education institutions, which is the theme of your national seminar today. And all the three areas which were to be discussed are choice-based credit system, multiple entry and exit in academic programs, and academic bank of credits. Now, these three all go hand in hand because when we are talking about these three systems, these are all a part of it because it will also be giving us the flexible pathways. And let me tell you, like in our institute, we already have done 2 of the studies on the flexible pathways in the higher education as well as the academic bank of credits. So some of the major issues which are to be really addressed are much more related to the governance. First of all, that how do you really look into the institutional arrangements, which will be actually talking about that. How do we talk about the multiple entry and exit as well as the choice-based credit system? The two very important points, which are to be taken into consideration are related to the vocational and the academic courses. Because if you have, done first or second year into the vocational and you want to come into the academics or the vice versa, what are the pathways in which we are really looking at it that can really be implemented? Since in our country, there is no one uniform kind of a organizational arrangement of governance, we have the central universities, we have the state universities, then we have the other management universities, not only the private, but many others also, because we have a very diverse country, which is actually flagging to most of the universities which are talking about the different patterns and the different systems. The other thing is that when we look at these three options which are given at the higher education level to a child, what kind of systematic follow-up is there? Because if do we have any kind of a tracking up of the child or the student, which is yet into the practice which we have been struggling? Because in our country we talk about more than 900 odd universities, and how these children or part of it will be really tracked from one level to another level, which have been already pointed out by my former speakers. This is very important to be kept into the mind. The other major issue which has been flagged is that how we are really linking the education with which a child is coming out with the employability or with the academic excellence, which is one of the very core issues when we are talking about the higher education. We are not going to limiting only in terms of a particular level, but we are also looking at the continuing pathways through the multiple entry and exit options which are available. So that there could be any kind of issues due to which the child is actually opting out. Third is that when we are looking at the options in terms of the career options, then what is going to be the timeline for that particular child if that child is having only 1 year or 2 year of the diploma or the degree, and that person comes into the job market, and then how that accumulation and the experience will be counted at the next level. These are the very practical issues which needs to be looked into. The other important point is that we all which has been flagged by the former speakers as well, that when we are looking at the last 2 years, that is the COVID pandemic, we have seen that there has been a very big break in terms of the learning outcomes. And that has been a global phenomenon. Let me tell you, it's not that only we are looking at it in the Indian context. So how do we actually ensure that access, equity, and quality, these three major themes, which are actually going to focus on that, even if you give the accessibility in terms of the multiple entry and exit system, but if you're looking at the equity as a particular theme, do we really have the options of giving them the choice-based credit system? Because the child will again will be much more clubbed in the sense whether the child, which socioeconomic background that child belongs to, and how that child is going to make the options. These are going to be very, very pertinent points to be taken into the account. The very other important theme, that is the quality parameter, we still are grappling with it. But it's not only in the context of the NEP 2020, but there are some of the issues which have been pertaining in terms of the employability. That is, how do you link education with the employability at the higher education? How do you look at the academic outcomes? We are also looking at the global rankings at the different levels of time, and we know that how many institutes are really ranking in terms of the global rankings. And if you're looking at the three major stakeholders, that is the teachers, students, and parents, one finds that all the stakeholders will have their own, choices which will be there because they all are influenced by each other. How do you train teachers? If you're saying about multiple entry and exit, it may happen that the teacher will be having, some teachers will have only 100 students, some may have only 2 students based on the choice, which is being made as per the employability which is available to the thing. Also, when we are looking at, floating these kind of options, the very major aspect is, is that what kind of financial provisions are there? Whether the institutes are really capable enough, to really keep that record, first of all, that how many students enter, what kind of options they are taking, and how they are actually going ahead in terms of their pathways? Is it also giving a parity to all the children who are actually passing out? So there will be a lot of issues when we are focusing more in terms of that. Either we are looking only at the quality parameter, or we are looking at making the choices at the different levels. The other very important point, which I think is the last one, which I would like to flag out, that how do you integrate the technology at the higher education? Because use and integration of the technology is something which still is not as acceptable in many of the cases, especially if you're talking about the e-governance, for instance. It still takes a lot of time. We still have to maintain the physical records, and then we are talking about what kind of softwares would be there. So I think the integration of technology, not only in using it in the pedagogical manners, but also how do you really look at it in keeping a track of all the provisions which are made to the students. So I think with that note, I'll end. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manasatra. Now we have 3 presentations before us, and I must say that we were very stimulating presentations, and they have flagged the right kind of questions. And I think that whenever we are in the process of implementing the policy, understanding the policy first and then implementing the policy, well, I think that we cannot be overtaken by one aspect, which is hurry, because hurry has also got its own time. When we have to pause, we have to think, and then we have to plan. The ideas can be very beautiful, but those can turn to disaster if not planned, if not understood in the right fashion and right manner. I was now these presentations are open for questions. So any question from the audience, we will be happy to take. So should I take it that there's no question? See, you speak out, because we will then take it on our side and take it as a compliment. Well, I think there's no question, and I again, oh, good.
Very nice question. Actually, UGC on 26 July 2022 only has come up with guidelines pertaining to multiple entry and exit system, wherein it has been mentioned कि कितने % जो है वो बैकलॉग या जो और एंट्री लेना चाहिए उसके लिए होगा. तो that will be taking into account management of teacher, कि कैसे होगा, and management of seats. For example, if your institute has intake of 50 students at a particular point of time, within those 50, 2, 3 would be reserved for students who would be taking entry, okay, at a particular point of time, back. That way they have tried to see how governance can take place, how management of this can take place. And This is only in planning. There would be teething problems when it comes to implementation, and then solutions will be found.
I request each one of you on the go to the UGC website. There are two very important documents, choice-based credit system. उसको डाउनलोड कर लीजिए, 27 पेज का वो डॉक्यूमेंट है. और दूसरा है मल्टीपल एंट्री मल्टीपल एग्जिट, उसकी गाइडलाइंस, वो 17 पेज का डॉक्यूमेंट है. Both the documents are very good. Please go through. There are all guidelines and the implementation templates as well, right? And every institution will have the flexibility to design that template, which will come from your university to your institution. Yeah.
A very good evening to all the speakers. Ma'am, I have a question. Since we have introduced vocational courses, but we have introduced them for the students. But I have figured out on my personal experience that the person who doesn't have industrial sectoral based experience won't be sufficient enough to provide vocational training and education to the student. Please guide us on this. Thank you.
With reference to professors of practice, the UGC, which will soon be replaced by the Higher Education Commission of India, the NEP. Yeah. The UGC has come up with a scheme that people with industrial experience, for example, if you're a person who has worked in the IT industry in mechanical engineering and you have rich experience of mechanical engineering, universities, you may not have a PhD, right, in your mechanical engineering discipline, but you will be hired as a professor of practice. So that's how they are bringing in industrial experience or the skill-based experience on board in universities.
Madam, you have raised a very nice question. I would try to relate it with what has happened with continuous and comprehensive evaluation. Actually, the teachers who grade students have actually been marked. So the problem is the teachers are considered to be scapegoats, knowing each and everything. So what happens is a teacher is supposed to wear various hats and to be expert in every field, even if the philosophy of grades and marks is entirely different. And we have been through marks system, but now we are grading our students based on marks. But having said this, that doesn't mean that students will be trained in industry and we do not learn. When we accompany them, we also learn so many things, and in the process, we help them and scaffold them. Thank you.
So, thank you very much, the presenters.
Thank you so much, everyone. I request Bansal sir and Archana Singhal ma'am to welcome and present a token of regard to Professor Kuldeep Puri. Next, I request Survi ma'am and Lalita ma'am to join. Welcome Professor Harjeet Kaur Bhatia. Next, I would like to request Dr. Priya Kapoor and Dr. Rashmi
to please come and welcome our second panelist, Professor Shalini Yadav. Next, I request Dr. Meenakshi Hooda and Kiran Kalia ma'am to join Principal ma'am and Archana Singhal ma'am to welcome Assistant Professor Mona Sedwal, who is the third panelist. Now we'll start with the technical session 2. For this, we have chairperson as Professor Kuldeep Puriji, and we have two keynote speakers for this technical session 2, Professor Das Parimala and Professor V.V. Subramaniam ji. Please come on the stage, sir. Now, as we are running short of time, let's begin with technical session 2. For this, as we all know, we are like well versed with Professor Kuldeep Puri now. He is the chairperson for this session. We have Professor Das Parimala. She is presently working as a professor in Department of Education, Central Institute of Education, University of Delhi. She is the keynote speaker 1. And we also have Professor V.V. Subramaniam ji as keynote speaker 2nd. He is from the Department of Computer Science and a former director of School of Computer and Information Sciences, IGNOU, New Delhi. Now I request our keynote speaker 1, Professor Das Parimala, to please share her thoughts.
Good evening to all of you, and thanks for the institution, DAV institution has given this opportunity, and it's really, good time today we had to interact, to meet many of us in academically. Thank you so much. I would like to, discuss this is in the New Education Policy 2020. The topic has been challenges and the opportunities. Of course, after 1986 policy, 36 years later, that we have been, revisiting to our, educational structure, and from Anganwadi to higher education forum, and higher education includes every level of vocational and the technical, and every level we are planning to have a very longitude visionaries in our policy of new education policy of 2020. And in that, of course, we have many opportunities also, and as well as we are also having the great challenges also. As far we know that in 1986 new education, the educational policy, it had that, earlier also many speakers who have been discussed on this, and delinking that from the social science subject from the employment opportunity that is emerged more on technical education, and scientific approach has been given more importance on that time. But now this policy has been overall giving importance to start from beginning to the higher educational level. And if we can see that in a very, start from this policy, where it has been started, how we are in the, force of, or, pressure of, doing this into at this moment. We can take it that many of our historical policies start from that, right to education, and, midterm assessment of the, our, educational elementary education program. We have come across that many data, that statistic shows that declining of the student enrollment from the upper primary level and the secondary level is a huge worry with us. Then what we have wanted to do is that we have changed a little bit our policy through right to education, that we have brought this continuity and comprehensive assessment practice to ensure the student should be control and sustainability. Now we have to look here in a very larger manner, the sustainability and the development. That was our main aim of the our nation. So sustainability, through that also we are looking for the sustainable of the student into the inside the classroom till the age group of 14, and then we are moving them from class wise to the assessment of overall development, and through different activities and different forum, different practices. In that way we did. Or some way the when the government changed, of course the certain policies are changed, and they have been reviewed. They wanted to more, to be added, to be enhanced, and to be bring the change. In that way it comes. So when we comes it's into that way, and so the examination pattern is going to be revisit again in the different level, and simultaneously there was a teaching for the skill-based vocational courses also over there. So that is what the colleagues are talking about, the flexibility and change and choice, or many things are there. And at the end, how one have to decide in a short duration what we can able to go ahead with, what type of the employability or sustainability of that particular student in front of them to select and go and involve to those occupation is the questions. And here we can see that higher education, now we know that in the 18 and 17 and 19 and all, we started that. We know that World Forum of Commercialization, has been, worked, and with the many universities, in our country also, we have a pressure that we have to work out with those World Forum of Commercialization to enter it to our country with the, some, forum have to be signed, because it's all also have the World Bank and other things and all that. There are many other economic aspects and development and sustainability is connected over there. It's a very large discourses, and connected to that, we have to, have the sign with the World Forum. In that World Forum of Commercialization, as given the permission through the, some of the commercial activities over in the higher education also into our country. That means we have given means now we can also see that how that's so slowly that commercialization has been, already it is existing. We know that start from our children are going and various level, we are seeing how this commercialization are entering into every level. And there are many of the families are affected. Many of the families are also have also been, affecting in different modes, but they are managing. But that the has not have a lots of problem and unable to reach out to those, entity of, reaching out to the school completion. So we are here mostly talking about the how this commercialization entering into the forum and how they are executing their institution. Is the larger question is that it is going to, after 10 years, it is going to change the basic structure of our higher education institution, our whole educational system. And in that means, in our constitution, our fundamental rights has been given very strongly to our educational structure, that what we are having right now, in partially, are being maybe taken over by them through certain, power and certain other agreement and all. So that time we won't be unable to stop, even though the political power has changed, it is very difficult to change. And then pedagogy and the curriculum, the teacher recruitment, many things are going to be changed for another 10 years. That these processes are going to happen certainly. And then we can see also that then legally there are many things are there. If the scholarships, the government gives scholarship to the, in many ways, scholarship has been provided for the poor children, has and have not, many forms we are given the scholarship. But when the privatization exists more and more, that those scholarships are going to be stopped. And then another thing we can see that the social justice through the policy, that is also going to be big question. That means affirmative policy to maintain the diversity into our country and bringing the poor and socially marginalized into the mainstream forum are going to be questionable if we make more and more in commercial into higher education, especially in the educational structure. These are the major questions in front of us in a larger way, and so we have to, I think, answer to that. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I request Professor V.V. Subramanian ji to please present his thoughts.
Hello. Respected dignitaries on the dais, of the dais, faculty, participants and students. The topic given to me is MOOCs. So currently in the GER is 24 to 26%, and our target is 50% by 2030. So there are only 8 whole years remaining. So what about the traditional education? Right from morning we are listening to many of the speakers that conventional education is convenient to teach and to make understand the student. But in order to get that particular GER, the universities that we have in India, the private and other universities that we have in India, are they sufficient? And do we have any other alternate mechanism that which will support the additional growth of the GER? So the thing that came into mind is online education. So online education is very much emphasized in NEP. So very much emphasis in the NEP, and they had shown many ways in order to provide online education. One of the ways is most probably the platform that had given is the Swayam platform, and the support for the rural areas that they had taught is through the Swayam Prabha. That is the 34 DTH channels that have been launched through GSAT. So in the NEP 2020, the technology is being highly focused in chapter number 23 and 24. Okay, it talks about many interventions. The main thing that they had focused is the emerging and disruptive technologies. So in the disruptive technologies, as we have seen, nobody has expected COVID-19. However, in India, we had continued with our education. There may be a lag only for 1 month or so. Immediately, we are being shifted to online platforms. Even though right from the primary education to higher education, we had completely shifted our focus and we had immediately adapted the way that we want to teach our children, because we don't want to discontinue their studies and we don't want to neglect them for 1 or 2 years. We don't know when it will end. Fortunately, we are thinking that it was end by 2 years. However, most probably there may be several academics also. So immediately we had shifted, and it is the greatness of the whole university system or a school education system, college education system in this country. Most of the teachers with a little capacity building, I don't call even that they are the capacity building, they have been thrown out and they had learned immediately, and then they had continued to teach to the students. There are certain cases where in which people may be just switching on the system and they may be sleeping or they may be doing their own work. However, most of the students, they had continued with their studies, and most of the students who are doing the research, they are also have completed their research and gone for the Viva Vasi also. So there is no major disruption. I will see in the positive act. There is no major disruption because we have ample number of repositories. In India, there are ample number of digital repositories. Right from the school level till higher education level, there are many repositories which supported our education. So immediately we can't prepare the textbook or we can't prepare the material and upload it. Some people, they had compensated with a little bit of PPTs and lecture notes. They had scanned and they had uploaded and they had continued their education with the student. So they had put the evaluation part. They had conducted the examinations. Most of the universities, they had adapted the online examination system and they had conducted the examinations also, and they had awarded the degrees. So this particular disruptive, these are all the disruptive technologies which has taken major role in the overall platform, and they have dominated the technologies that are contemporary. So that is what I meant to say. And there it comes like AI, robotics, machine learning, blockchain technology, smart boards. There are several things which are being highlighted in the 2020. And the key initiatives that are being recommended by the NEP 2020 are digital infrastructures, MOOCs, online learning, blended learning, then addressing the digital divide, virtual labs. So these are the main things that they had highlighted in the key initiatives that needs to be taken care immediately, because we don't have that much time. So each and every university has to build up the capacity in order to offer these kinds of initiatives to their universities. So I don't directly focus on this. There are several contexts where in which the Swayam is being highlighted. So Swayam, why Swayam? So in the earlier discussion, they were talking about choice-based credit system. Are each and every university has that much capacity to offer those many electives as choices? No. So there may be a choice where in which you have to go for the SWAYAM courses, where in which teacher will be the guide. He will go through the course. Syllabus wise, if it is matching 75+%, so most probably the teacher will recommend that course as the regular course. Why? Because in the earlier discussion, we had heard that there is a gadget on SWAYAM guidelines, where in which it talks that in the mainstream, whoever do the SWAYAM courses, 40% credit transfer can be done in the regular stream. 40%. Earlier it was only 20. Post-COVID, they had increased it to 40%. And in the rural areas, when we talk about the Delhi colleges and universities, we are very much privileged. When you go to interior, when you go to the rural areas, that too in the states like Bihar, Jharkhand, and some places, you don't have staff. You don't have teachers to teach the specialized courses. So there is a chance where in which these particular MOOC courses are being highly popular, are being produced by eminent faculty. Not one faculty is teaching all the courses, eminent faculty. That too, they are adapting a system called as 4-quadrant approach. So this is not a simple system that we are thinking that I am putting the course material or PPT and I am completing the course. No. They have come up with a kind of strategy in order to give online training or online learning to the students by following a 4-quadrant approach. So instead of the teacher coming to the class and teaching, so what they will do, they have prepared the lectures by eminent faculty all over the country. So they have put a that too for each and every credit they had measured, and then for 4 credit course it will be 40 half-an-hour videos. So in order to complete the course, the student needs to do the 40 lectures they have to under. Then specially the related course material is there, content there, discussion forum is there, but check your progress kind of thing in between the chapters. They had given the intermittent called as the check your progress, or else you can call it as the continuous assessment part. So each and every component that we expect in the regular teaching is being compensated. Not that they are just uploading the scanned documents. So I talked about the 40% credit transfer. Currently, there are 8,723 courses on offer at every level. So not one course or 2 courses, at every level, right from school courses or NIOS courses till the higher education courses, research methodology, they have 8,273 courses, and then at least 3 crore students have taken the admissions till now, and approximately 26 lakh students, they have taken the examination, and then 12 lakh students are being certified. So this is the stats as on date till now, till today. This is the stats that I have taken till today. So this is the huge volume of the students they are offering for they are taking. Mostly this particular component is being popularized by the engineering colleges. Why? Because all the engineering colleges are not of the same standard. The faculty are not of the same standard. Most probably in the urban areas we have very good faculty, but in the rural areas there are several engineering colleges where in which faculty are working for 10,000 or 15,000. So we can't. The students are unable to get a very good education. So many of the faculties, and in that too in the engineering colleges, you have several electives to be studied in the 3rd and 4th semester, the 3rd and 4th year. So most of the people, they had compensated these particular MOOCs as the mainstream courses there. So here you have course right from simple programming till the highly specialized quantum physics. So you have many courses. So people opted for them and they had got the certificates also. So these are some of the things. And then coming to the regional languages content, AICT has designed their NPTEL courses long back, and they had put them on the SWAYAM platform also. And then they are in a position to convert some of the content automatically using some tool called as translation tool that is designed by Buddha Chandrasekhar. So he has designed a translation tool, and then the e-content in the form of code, if you give it to him, it will be converted to 12 different languages, popular languages, and then they are uploading it then to the website. So this particular thing is happening. Translation, automatic translation through machine learning is also happening there. So regional content is available. And then for faculty, there is a wonderful scheme wherein which ARPIT is the ARPI. ARPIT is the capacity building thing that we do it for the 21 days refresher program. So the same thing you can do it through the MOOCs also and complete it, then get a certificate. During your CIS, this particular ARPIT is the certificate that one can attach with your appraisal and can submit. So this is the sample course page, dashboard, assignments, and this is the examination from the faculty point of view. So there are certain challenges also included. As earlier speaker, she told that the certificates are not coming on time. That is one challenge I want to make. Bandwidth is the second challenge. And whoever are going there presenting the capacity building, it obviously requires. And then each university, if they want to participate, there is a thing proposal is the thing that they have to send it to the core faculty, the 9 nodal officers, depending upon the level of the program that they wish to offer. That is one thing. Credit transfer. So everybody should accept the credit transfer. For that reason only, each and every university is registering for the National Academic Depository, NAD. So each university, in order in future, we don't give the students the kind of original degree that we are giving it right now. They are planning to give it just like CBSE 10th and 12th. They wish to give the digital certificates, and physical certificates also will be there. And then in future, they are thinking to give the certificates blockchain based. So non-tampered blockchain based certificates they are thinking of. And each and every student, they have their own digital lockers. The certificates are being pushed. And then coming to the academic bank of credits, whatever the credits that they gain from these Swayam MOOCs, those will be directly pushed to their digital lockers. And a copy will be pushed to the NAD also, to the university, so that the credit transfer won't be a big thing. So thank you. If at all there are any questions, I would like to.
So I would just, I would request that if you can be very brief. If you can be very brief, because the time interval is closing.
Welcome. It's not about online education, but do we actually find the feasibility of the system as the policy makers assess the pros and cons of it? After COVID, there was a report of the research that class students were not able to solve the question of fourth class math. What about those unlucky section of the society who are residing in remote part of the country who are not having the accessibility and the facility of this network and the iPhone system, etc. मुझे एक चीज याद आती है, वो एक शेर शायद ने कहा है, मेरे को याद नहीं, पर उसके बोल है कि हम ऐसे घोड़े पे सवार हैं जिसका लगाम हमारे हाथ में है, हमारे पैर दबाव हम कर रहे हैं. They are offering that thing. अभी एक स्पीकर ने कहा there is no substitute for a face-to-face teaching, student taught and barring your diagnostic central part, there is a sea change in the standard of teaching and students' motivation. When we talk about central university colleges, central colleges of the university and our state college. See, the same stand here all over country. They are do not find the motivation among the students to learn in the class, not to talk about the online education. Who will motivate them? How will they get motivated? How they will compete with the rest of the society of the nation and the world? These are my questions. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, at present, we are into SWAYAM 2.0, and we will be moving, within no time, we'll be moving to SWAYAM 3.0 version, wherein which the government is utilizing to inculcate more onto learning analytics. So most probably the problem that has been raised, the dropouts, or else in between, if at all the course has been discontinued or something like that, there is a provision wherein which the same concept, whatever that is applicable for the data analytics, the same concept they wish to use it for the learning analytics also. They wish to use it for the SWAYAM 3.0 also, where we have a strong thing where the student, whatever, wherever he has stopped, there will be a kind of motivation by looking into the analytics part of the automatically, so that automatically, suppose if the student type a first day, so automatically a simple module will be offered online to him in order to understand and understand the concept. That is called as, they are coming up with a kind of thing called as the personalized learning or as adaptive learning. So there are ways and means where in which the research is on, and most probably in the 3.0 version they come up with more tools wherein which it completely tracks, keeps track of the students' progress during the course. Analytics is there, and we are talking, and recently there is an announcement of 5G. So most probably in the urban areas will get 5G in most of the cities. Most probably the rural areas that we are talking about, at least they will get the 3G aspects. Even in Jammu, I had recently visited Jammu, there is no interruption. Even in Srinagar also, there is no interruption in the terrain range. If at all you are having the postpaid connection, there is no discontinuity in my signals. So that I had observed. So the backbone is improving, the bandwidth is improving. We are not the same people that we were there past 7 to 10 years. We are far ahead, and we are competing with the developed world, developed countries. So be positive, think positive, and put your own efforts in order to make the student, because these students, they don't want a normal kind of classrooms and normal kind of studies. They already know many things. You have to curate, or else let them curate and let them study. Later on, our role will be only facilitators. We have to guide them in a right way in order to achieve their targets. So that is how the whole teacher will be transforming into a kind of matter. Thank you.
So respected principal madam and dear speakers and dear friends, these two presentations were very elaborate, very to the point, and quite self-explanatory. I have only to add one or two points on Professor Parimala's presentation, and just two more points on Dr. Professor Subramanian's point. The first thing that Professor Parimala has mentioned and flagged, that is social justice. So please, friends, let us understand one thing. We may touch the moon. We may touch moon very soon. Let's pray, let's go. But please don't forget that there are patches which are still to be covered. By saying that we have reached moon, we won't be able to reach moon. We'll have to travel, and we'll have to travel the most difficult terrain on our path. We are developing. We have reached a point, fine, and it's the effort of all these decades that we have reached over here. We will go further, but then social justice. In the morning, there was a talk and there was a comment, and for the multiple entry and exit point, which was the previous session's point of presentations. I was just wondering that when we say that we will allow them to have exit the moment they want to exit, and we presume that they will exit because they are not interested in the course. They want to pursue something else. But can there be any possibility by any stretch of imagination, if you come to your mind, that someone leaves in between because he cannot continue, he doesn't have the purse, he doesn't have the money to continue? One cannot forget about it. So this multiple entry and exit can be very idealistic. But then when I push out someone after 1 year and satisfies him with a certificate, I may be saying that I have done a great thing. But then please understand that I have excluded a person. And by any stretch of imagination, I'm not able to really reconcile with the thought that why is he leaving? If he's leaving. Then this other point, Dr. Subramaniam has very nicely elaborated the scheme of Swayam and MOOCs. At the moment, 11% of the total enrollment in the higher education is through ODL, Open and Distance Learning System. That is the latest 1920 report of All India Survey on Higher Education. Now, this policy says that every institution will be allowed to have ODL system along with the face-to-face system. They want to raise the gross enrollment ratio. I don't want to comment on the quality and the merits and demerits of distance education program and the difficulties being faced. I only want to quote 2 lines from policy itself. At page number 40, the point is 12.9 under the student activity and participation. The policy says vibrant campus life is essential for high quality teaching learning process. Now, whether I have said or anyone else said this, let's forget about it. The policy itself underlines it, meaning thereby. And I think that I myself have been from the distance education, and I don't find any reason to feel offended by it. It means that the vibrant campus we could not provide through distance education. Yes, we could provide the clones of that interaction and all that, and this will be done, that will be done, question answer will be done, but that doesn't happen. And policy says this. We are actually talking of, the policy also talks very in a contradictory manner at many places. It highlights disruptive technology. It highlights that technology is the in thing today. We celebrate and really, boast of having online education programs and all that. And one speaker went up to the level of saying the class 3 and 4 student will also be taught through online education. And I don't know that what trauma a student of class 3 and 4 would have faced it. Now, the other line that policy says, that is that any online program would not be of any consequence if that is not blended with the activity and the experience on the ground. So, well, friends, with these observations, I again thank the speakers and thank you people for patiently listening to all these deliberations. And my request would be that before having any final word on policy, we must pause and think critically, and then we move forward. Thank you very much, and thank you very much, Ms. Lani, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Savita ma'am and Archana Singhal ma'am to give the token of regards to keynote speaker, Professor Dos Parimala. Now I request Savita ma'am, Bansal sir and Dr. Neeraj to please come on the stage and welcome and present token of regards to Professor B.V. Subramaniam ji. Thank you so much. We are over with technical session 2. Now moving towards the validity session, I request our guest of honor, Professor A.K. Sharan sir, to please take your seat. And Shri D.V. Sethi ji, who will preside over the seminar, sir, please come on the stage. We have with us our guest of honor, Professor A.K. Sharan ji, who is a professor of public finance and economics from NIFM Faridabad. He has over 30 years of teaching experience, and we are very fortunate that he has spared a lot of time for us. He is with us from the inaugural session. Thank you so much, sir.
and everybody is eagerly waiting to hear you, sir. Can I please invite you to please share your views?
Thank you, Sethi sir. Thank you, Principal Dr. Bhagat, audience and guests of the dais. To me, it appears after so many people have spoken that it's going to be a little unsolicited add-on. But because we follow conventions, is what I was discussing shortly with Dr. Arun Bhagat. India is a land of culture and conventions. So we follow the complete cycle of rituals. Having heard the first speaker in the morning, Padmashri Rajput, having also heard the concluding speaker, Professor Subramanian, who spoke on a topic of my choice, that was MOOCs, which is taking shape and becoming order of the day. Not because people may not like or like physical form of education. That kind of education with the enrollment ratios that we look forward to is not feasible. So you have to have an alternative. You can't deny people for lack of infrastructural facilities. In a valedictory session on a slightly lighter note, you have to live long. It's something like you are there for the classical poetry, you are also there for the romanticism. When I heard different speakers, I found speakers having very extreme ideas, either too fascinated with the new economic policy or too dejected with the new economic policy. In fact, nothing is and nothing can't be too good about the new thing. And it is a fact that there was nothing all bad about the old policy. Incidentally, I have lived between these two policies in a very strange manner. When I completed my post-graduation, the previous policy came. And when I have almost concluded with my career, the new policy has come. So I have lived between these two extremes. Having been a teacher all through by choice, not by accident, I have certain points to appreciate about the new economic policy. Is still taking a reasonable guard that I am not over fascinated by anything which is new. Yes, it has limitations, and any new policy, any new program, till such time it sets in its final enormity, as a huge passage of time. So teething issues will be there, not sufficient to criticize the policy. Issues will evolve. And by the time the policy will consolidate, you may have many changes in the policy itself. So therefore, looking at it from that point of view, all I can say to the learned audience and the experts here, everything is about change. Change is the only consistent. And here the challenge is not to learn so many things. All new skills, upskill. A larger challenge is unlearning. We are so formatted with the system that it will be very difficult for the providers of the education to first themselves be in sync with the letter and spirit of the new policy. So therefore, what I see as a challenge is more for the teachers than for the rest of the lots. Teachers will have to upskill themselves, and then they can reach rightly and in an apt manner to their audiences, who are the students. Parents will have to learn. And if it is not too bitter to mention here, because this is an academic forum, I hail from the government, so I can't very often talk things on other fora. of all the institutions, UGC and AICT will have to be on learning quite a lot. They, over a period, rather than being facilitators, have become masters or the controllers of the education. When we say that the private sector is proliferating, growing faster, should have self-financing. In every forum you talk, you say, no, you should have more of self-financing programs. But when I decide on my self-financing program, then what should be the fee? For that, there is a regulator. What should be the modalities? For that, there is a regulator. Infrastructure, I have to provide. Students, I have to organize. Teachers, I have to organize. But there is somebody which is telling me how should you conduct, which means my money, how to spend, is to be told by somebody else. There's one major bottleneck. I don't know if the speaker is not seen around. I saw that some solution has been provided by giving a provision for professors of practice. In my institution, we have appointed 5 professors of practice. I can be slated the 6th one. But let me be honest here, telling you, so far, the provision of the professor of practice is more about the rehabilitation of the redundants rather than really getting the right people. It sounds bitter, but so far, this is what it looks like. So people who could not get any job anywhere after 60 years or something, suddenly they get a call, okay, come to my institution and be a professor of practice. So some gentleman has been practicing something else. In the college or the institution, he comes and starts practicing something else. Okay, till this point also, if it is tolerable, who will give me money to appoint these professors of practice? Where is the budget? Where is the resource? Therefore, I found, I have gone through in very great detail about the new economic policy. Then I found, as somebody said, I think Professor, the last speaker or somebody, I think Professor Puri was also mentioning that same thing. At some points, you will find that there are conflicts within the policy. So one should have an open mind also to resolve these conflicts, upgrade the institutions technologically, infrastructurally. And when we say that we have to put in lots of resources into the education, till and until that is done, you can have little hopes from the new thing. But it again does not mean that the new education policy is not encouraging. It is encouraging in several ways. 2 points with which I am completely enamored. They are governance and equity. The new education policy talks in great detail as to what should be the new format of governance and how equity can be instituted and enshrined in the current education system. I had many points. I had full of these documents. I thought of that I'll talk to you in as much detail as possible. But again, while concluding, I would say the job of a valediction speaker is something like a showstopper. A beauty pageant already, the event is over. Somebody has to stop the show. I am here as a showstopper. I would suggest, I have gone through the new education policy. One can speak for hours on the new education policy. All it requires a little English or Hindi and papers before you. Nothing great. One thing I would solicit and most humbly request to all the experts in the audience here, that this new education policy has its horizons very wide. The only issue will be implementation of the policy in the same spirit with which it has been created. So again, as I said, you will have bottlenecks, you have challenges, you will have troubles, you have stumbling blocks, but then ultimately, if we have a strong conviction, it will be a game changer and it will bring in new generation, definitely with better skills, better employability and better employment opportunities. Before I conclude, it's very unformatted. I have expressed my thanks for Professor Sabta Bhagat, City Sir, all the organizers here. But when I was very young, as is everybody someday, I used to anchor these shows in my university or other places. And I was always thinking that there should be somebody who thanks me also sincerely and profusely. I thank the young lady here who I see since morning with little nervousness when the first speaker came and settled finally when the last speaker is around the showstopper. I thank the young lady. I thank all the organizers. I sincerely thank City Sahab, Professor Sabita. Thank you so much.
Now I request convener of today's seminar, Mr. Mukesh Bansal, to present report of today's seminar.
Respected Dr. D.V. Sethi ji, respected Professor A.K. Sharan ji, respected Principal Madam Dr. Savita Bhagat ji, resource persons, keynote speakers, delegates, faculty members, and dear students. The report पढ़ने से पहले 2-3 लाइनें मैं कहूँगा। गवर्नमेंट ऑफ हरियाणा ने पिछले दिनों एक वर्कशॉप ऑर्गेनाइज की, उसमें कहा गया जो नहीं पढ़ेंगे वो भी मरेंगे और जो पढ़ेंगे वो भी मरेंगे। तो फिर पढ़ने की जरूरत क्या है, इतनी मेहनत करने की जरूरत क्या है। दूसरी लाइन में उन्होंने कहा कि हम इसलिए पढ़ते हैं कि हम सुखी जीवन जीना चाहते हैं, हम जीव जंतुओं पक्षियों से बेहतर हैं, सोच सकते हैं, ज्ञान अर्जित कर सकते हैं, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर अरेंज कर सकते हैं, जीविका अपनी अरेंज कर सकते हैं, इसलिए हम पढ़कर मरे तो वो ज्यादा अच्छा है। इसके लिए सरकार टाइम टू टाइम चेंजेस करती है पढ़ाई लिखाई में। 34 साल पहले 1986 में एजुकेशन पॉलिसी जो आई थी, उसके बाद 2020 में जो न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी आई है, पॉलिसी में क्या लिखा है, आज का नेशनल सेमिनार उसके ऊपर नहीं था। उस पॉलिसी को इंप्लीमेंट कैसे करना है, उसमें क्या चैलेंजेस आ रहे हैं, आज का नेशनल सेमिनार उस पर है, जिसकी रिपोर्ट इस तरीके से है। On 26 November 2022, a national seminar on challenges and opportunities for higher educational institutions in implementing NEP 2020 was organized by DAV Centenary College, Faridabad, and sponsored by ICSSR under the auspices of the officiating principal, Dr. Savita Bhagat, to celebrate the auspicious day Azadi Ka Mahotsav. Our government has been taking numerous steps in reshaping the present educational policies in order to shift from the traditional style of teaching, that is, teacher-centered learning, to the student-centered. New Education Policy 2020 is one of the excellent innovations proposed by the government after the discussions with experienced academicians and other intellectuals. Padam Shri Jagmohan Singh Rajput ji, former director NCERT, the guest of honor, said, "The existing policy contains everything needed for the teaching learning process and is based on the uses of mother tongue in several disciplines. Astitva, Manushyatva, and Acharyatva are covered under the policy. The 4 pillars of learning to know, learning to do, learning to be, and learning to live together were discussed, and he encouraged everyone to work on them." Professor Tankeshwar Kumar,
Vice Chancellor, Central University of Haryana, Mahendragarh, the chief guest of the inaugural session, said that English will no longer be the barrier for those who don't know English as it used to be. Further, he stressed on the vocational studies and said the policy focused on skill education and importance of acquiring education in mother tongue. Professor Balwant Singh Rajput, former Vice Chancellor, Hemwati Nandan Bahuguna University, Uttarakhand, the keynote speaker of the session, shared his valuable thoughts on the theme and discussed the challenges faced by the learners due to rote learning. He said, knowledge should be acquired in mother language from primary stage to research. The policy will help the learners to shift from job seekers to job giver. Vocational and environmental awareness are deeply discussed in the policy. He said the policy has introduced National Research Foundation that will control the quality of the research. Has also stressed on moral education and Lok Vidya. It is important to trace our history rather just focusing on the Western knowledge. The session was followed by the technical session 1, in which Major General retired Rajan Ochadi, former MGEA OC Central Command and presently Vice Chairman, National Council of News and Broadcasting, deliberated on the topic self-reliant India and shared his observations by saying that adopting change is not so easy. It is important to understand the roadmap of the policy before we plan to implement. He said 0.8% is spent on the research by the government in case of GDP, and there is need to increase the same. He said it is important to focus on situation awareness. There should be separate ministry for technology. Defense technology department should be there in the universities. He said the entrepreneurship is one of the biggest challenges of NEP 2020. Professor Anos Raj, head Department of Education and Nodal Center, UP, Abacus Swami Vivekanand Subharti University, Meerut, UP, shared his valuable thoughts on the topic vocational courses and research by saying that there should be design and the well-planned curriculum of the vocational courses. He emphasized on values and ethics and its importance in new education policy. Professor Balwant Singh Rajput, former Vice Chancellor, the chairperson of the technical session 1, gave the concluding remarks by saying vocational course and skill development are the two different things. Vocational course starts from the primary class. However, skill development is for dropout students. There is no limit in the vocational courses, and government has been taking various steps in the progress of this plan. He has also discussed the two branches of philosophy, that is Vedic and Avedic philosophy. The session was followed by the panel discussion on the topics choice-based credit system, multiple entry and exit system, and continuous and comprehensive evaluation system, in which Professor Harjeet Kaur Bhatia, professor at Jamia Millia Islamia University, Professor Shalini Yadva, Associate Professor Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University, and Assistant Professor Mona Deswal from NEPA shared their views on the themes. Professor Kuldeep Puri, retired Professor of Education, Punjab University, Chandigarh, the moderator of the session. He said, who is retired Professor of Education, Punjab University, Chandigarh, he said, policies before implementing should be well planned, and with no planning, no policy can be successful. Professor Harjeet Kaur Bhatia shared her views on flexibility is a core, as the course will be on multiple entry and exit. Now, now one can shift to other courses anytime. The new education policy gives flexibility to the learners to opt or shift from one course to other, but the problem is that at present, there is a fixed curriculum in our educational system. The speaker has also compared various assessment systems. Professor Shalini Yadav said that we are fantastic planners, but unfortunately, we are struggling to implement. She said at least 6% of GDP should be spent on education, but unfortunately, India has reached only 1% of it. The speaker also stressed on higher and lower order cognitive skill. The most important person in the institution is the teacher. The UGC says the 40% of the course should be through online mode. However, the reality is that the classroom teaching cannot be in place. Assistant Professor Mona Sedwar has thrown light on the role of stakeholders like teachers, students, and parents. She focused on the arrangements made by the institution for implementation of NEPs. In the technical session 2, the technical speaker, Professor Dos Parimila, enlightened the institutional development plan, and the keynote speaker, Professor Subramaniam, has given his expertise lecture on the MOOCs. The session was chaired by Professor Kuldeep Puri and said in concluding remarks, we may touch moon very soon, but by saying this, we would not reach. We have to travel. Policy itself said about the vibrant campus. In this seminar, the participants have joined from Dubai and Germany through online mode and different parts of country, including Uttarakhand, UP, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Delhi, and Haryana. More than 100 participants have registered and participated through different platforms, that is YouTube, Facebook, Zoom platform, and offline mode too. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now it's time for the presidential remarks by Shri D.V. Sethi, sir. I request you, sir.
और सामने बैठे हुए बहन और भाई फैकल्टी मेंबर्स किए गए। मैंने सुबह भी आपसे कार्ड किया था। पॉलिसीज तो बनती है, बात ठीक है, बननी भी चाहिए, परिवर्तन भी जरूरी है। मेरी आबादी बढ़ी।
आप सुबह से बैठे मैं यहाँ पर बड़ा धीरे रखता हूँ। एक पॉलिसी हमारे सामने आई इसमें भी धीरे रखने की आवश्यकता है। मालिक ने बीज बो दिया है तो अपने समय पर उसकी धीरे धीरे माना धीरे सब मालिक से 100 ग्राम ऋतु आए इसमें उतार चढ़ाव आते हैं तो कुछ कठिनाइयां भी आए। ऑनलाइन टीचिंग के बारे में चर्चा कोविड के समय में हमारे स्कूलों में ऑनलाइन उस समय में हम बैठ करके चर्चा करते थे कि क्या करें। हमने कि हमें इस ऑनलाइन टीचिंग में कितना लाभ हुआ है, बच्चों को कितना लाभ हुआ है, अभिभावकों को कितना लाभ हुआ है। क्यों? रिपोर्ट ये लिखी थी स्कूल में तो है नहीं, घर में कौन देखेगा? उस मॉड्यूल पर उसका स्क्रीन पर कितने लोग आ जाए? बच्चे ने ऑन किया तो अपना मजे कर। कितना लाभ हुआ होगा उस ऑनलाइन पॉलिसी उस ऑनलाइन टीचिंग के माध्यम से कि हम अपने प्राय डिस्कस करते रहते कि हमें असेस करना चाहिए अगर वो सिस्टम चालू होती है ऑफलाइन भी और ऑनलाइन दोनों में अगर तुलना की जाती है तो कितना लाभ। आज एक दिवसीय इस कार्यक्रम में बड़ा अच्छा लगा। जैसे एक टीम में 11 बंदे होते हैं, खेलने वाले खिलाड़ी होते हैं, बोलो होते हैं कि नहीं? नहीं बोले आप, होते हैं कि नहीं? उसी तरह से आज के खेल में भी डॉक्टर सविता ने चुन के 11 खिलाड़ी की जाए 11 और उन्होंने मैं समझता हूँ बहुत ही सुंदर तरीके से अपना वक्तव्य किया। मुझे भी बहुत कुछ वहां पे सुनने में समझने में मिला और मैं दोबारा जाकर एक बार और डॉक्टर पढ़ूंगा इस प्रकार से इम्प्लीमेंट किया जा सकता है। चैलेंजेस और उन चैलेंजेस को हम स्वीकार करना चाहते हैं। अगर चैलेंज नहीं होगा तो जीवन का आनंद कहाँ से अप्स एंड डाउन आते हैं। जो डॉक्यूमेंट हमारे सामने पेश किया गया है भारत सरकार ने किया है, शिक्षा भी बैठे, वाइस चांसलर बैठे, एकर्स थे वो बैठे, सबने संवेद पर से ये सोचा हो क्या ऐसा एक डॉक्यूमेंट ऐसी सोच होनी चाहिए, शायद इससे कुछ प्रगति पथ पर हम सकते। मैं आशा करता हूँ इन 4-5 सत्रों के माध्यम से जो कुछ आपको प्राप्त हुआ आप उस पर विचार कीजिए। अपने कॉलेज में बैठकर छोटे बैठकर इस एजुकेशन पॉलिसी की चर्चा की, तब पता चलता है कि हाँ इस चीज का लाभ होने का। केवल आज हमने सुन लिया तो चले गए, उससे काम बनता नहीं। आपने मुझे अवसर दिया यहाँ पर आने का, आपसे कुछ विचार विमर्श करने का। आपको मैंने बहुत बोर भी कर दिया है लेकिन फिर भी आपने सुन लिया मुझे और आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद है, आभार है कि आपने मुझे ये अवसर प्रदान किया है कि मैं आप सबके साथ मिल बैठ करके कुछ सुन पाऊँ, कुछ ध्यान रख पाऊँ और कुछ अपना विचार आप डिस्कस कर सकते हैं। प्रोफेसर शरण कह रहे थे, इनका भी धन्यवाद कौन करेगा? मैं आपका अंतर्मन से करता हूँ। ये कॉलेज कमेटी की ओर से और अपनी ओर से आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद है। आपने इतना समय आज दिया है और डॉक्टर सविता को जब भी मुझे आदेश करती हैं कि आपने आना है, अब पता नहीं मैं क्यों ना नहीं कर सकता, पता नहीं क्या। तो आपका प्यार है कि आपकी दृष्टि में कभी कभी आ जाता हूँ, आप याद कर लेते हैं, प्यार बनाए रखिए। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका और प्रसन्न रहिए। सबसे बड़ी बात है प्रसन्न रहिए, कीप स्माइलिंग। एक स्माइल होती है एयर होस्टेज की, एक स्माइल होती है एयर होस्टेज की, और एक होता है स्माइल, और एक होता है जब उनको फोटो लेता है से चीज एक स्माइल को, और एक अट्टहास होता है। तो जब भाई एक जा रहे थे तो चढ़ते हैं, जब ट्रेन चढ़ते हैं तो खड़ी होती हैं, स्माइल देती है, सबाइन की स्माइल हो, स्माइल हो, मैं कह सकता हूँ। लेकिन हंसते जरूर रहना चाहिए। और कौन सी एयरवेज है, उनकी ड्रेस जो होती है वो नीली होती है, उनकी ड्रेस नीली होती है एयर होस्टेस, इंडिगो की ड्रेस जो है वो नीली होती है। तो एक तो गलत आदत पड़ी हुई है, तो मैंने कुछ लिख दिया उसके ऊपर। तो जो मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि कलम कुंद ना हो लिख लेता हूँ, कुंद कहते हैं कुंजी को, जरा तो छुरी जो क्या ब्लंट हो कहते हैं, तो कलम कुंद ना हो लिख लेता हूँ, और जुबान को जंग न लगे बोल लेता हूँ, और आपने जिस प्यार से क्या बुलाया है मुझे, सर के बल चला आया। हाँ, तो मैं बात कर रहा था स्माइल। तो हवाई जहाज में चढ़ते ही मिली मधुर मुस्कान, ध्यान दीजिएगा, एक छंद है, कुंडलिया छंद कहते हैं इसमें। इसमें 6 पंक्तियां होती हैं, 6 पंक्तियां होती हैं, और विशेषता क्या है? नंबर 1 कुंडलिया छंद है, नंबर 2 ये इसमें 6 पंक्तियां होती हैं, नंबर 3 पहली पंक्ति का पहला शब्द अंतिम पंक्ति का अंतिम शब्द एक जैसे होने चाहिए, नंबर 4 दूसरी पंक्ति के अंतिम शब्द तीसरी पंक्ति के पहले शब्द होने चाहिए, नंबर 5 पांचवी पंक्ति में कभी का नाम। तो मुलाजा फरमाइए कि हवाई जहाज में चढ़ते ही मिली मधुर मुस्कान, और नीली जैकेट पहनकर करा रही जलपान। आते हैं नहीं, जलपान कराते, तो नीली जैकेट पहनकर करा रही जलपान, और करा रही जलपान की पहनी दृष्टि। पूछ रहा हूं प्रभु से कैसी बनाई सृष्टि, कहे भी प्रसन्न हो। सुनो सुनो ये भाई, जब भी यात्रा करनी हो करो यात्रा हवाई। धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much, sir. Now I request conveners to please join on the stage, and it's time to present a token of regard to Professor A.K. Sharatji. Now time to convey our sincere regards and token of regards to D.V. Sethi sir. I request conveners and ma'am to please present a token of regards to D.V. Sethi sir. And can we also join? All the organizing team members, please come on the stage. Lalita ma'am, Rashmi, Bindu ma'am, Kiran ma'am, Preeti Jha ma'am. formal vote of thanks. I request Archana Singhal ma'am to please present for formal vote of thanks. आप सभी को मेरा सादर नमन। माननीय प्रिजाइडिंग ऑफिसर श्री सेठी जी, आदरणीय विशिष्ट अतिथि प्रोफेसर A.K. सरन जी, पब्लिक फाइनेंस एंड इकोनॉमिक्स NIIT फरीदाबाद, आदरणीय प्राचार्य महोदय डॉक्टर सविता भगत जी, मंच पर आसीन अन्य महानुभाव, पधारे हुए अतिथिगण, उपस्थित समस्त वक्ता एवं श्रोतागण, शिक्षक एवं गैर शिक्षकगण, आप सभी को मेरा भावपूर्वक अभिनंदन। मैं डॉक्टर अर्चना सिंघल इस सेमिनार के सफलतम समापन पर धन्यवाद प्रस्तुत करने के लिए आप सबके समक्ष उपस्थित हूँ। सर्वप्रथम मैं अपनी एक पंक्ति को कह करके धन्यवाद अर्पित करना चाहूंगी। कहा गया है कि समय सबसे बड़ा धन है, और यकीन मानिए आज आपने हम पर लाखों करोड़ों अपने समय के सिक्के लुटाए हैं। थैंक यू। धन्यवाद के क्रम में मैं सर्वप्रथम धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगी परमपिता परमेश्वर का, जिनकी असीम अनुकंपा से हम आज इस एक दिवसीय नेशनल सेमिनार के सफल समापन की ओर अग्रसर हुए हैं। और साथ ही धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगी कार्यक्रम के प्रायोजक ICSSR न्यू दिल्ली का, जिनके सहयोग से ही इस सेमिनार का आयोजन संभव हो सका। धन्यवाद के क्रम में हार्दिक धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करना चाहती हूँ हमारे DAV परिवार के अभिन्न अंग, आज के प्रिजाइडिंग ऑफिसर ऑनरेबल ट्रेजरर DAV CMC, फाउंडर टीचर DAV CC श्री TV सेठी जी का, जिन्होंने कार्यक्रम के प्रारंभ से लेकर और अंत तक अपनी गरिमामय उपस्थिति के साथ रहकर हमारा सबका मनोबल बढ़ाया है। सर, हम आपके बहुत बहुत आभारी हैं। धन्यवाद अर्पित करना चाहूंगी आज के विशिष्ट अतिथि प्रोफेसर A.K. सरन जी का, जिन्होंने नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 के महत्वपूर्ण पहलुओं पर प्रकाश डालते हुए हम सभी को ज्ञान का एक नया आयाम प्रदान किया। सर, आपका कोटि कोटि आभार व धन्यवाद। मैं आज के हमारे वाइस चांसलर्स, करंट वाइस चांसलर प्रोफेसर टंकेश्वर जी, फॉर्मर वाइस चांसलर्स सर राजपूत जी, और उनकी एब्सेंस में भी उनका धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगी कि उन्होंने अपने वक्तव्य से इस सेमिनार को एक सार्थकता प्रदान की। अब मैं विद्यालय के महाविद्यालय की सुयोग्य प्राचार्य डॉक्टर सविता भगत जी, जो कि एक कर्तव्यनिष्ठ, कर्मठ तथा कार्य के प्रति पूर्ण रूप से समर्पित महिला हैं, उनका विशेष रूप से धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगी कि उन्होंने हम पर विश्वास करके हमें यह जिम्मेदारी सौंपी और प्रतिपल हमारा व हमारी टीम का अपनी सूक्ष्म दृष्टि से सहयोग करते हुए नेतृत्व किया। मैडम, हम आशा करते हैं कि हम सभी पर आपका स्नेह व आशीर्वाद इसी प्रकार बना रहेगा। एक बार फिर से आपको कोटि कोटि धन्यवाद। धन्यवाद की कड़ी में धन्यवाद अभी शेष है अरुण भगत सर का, जो हमारे ही परिवार के सदस्य हैं, वरिष्ठ सदस्य हैं, और सर की छत्र छाया में हमें ऐसा महसूस होता है कि कोई भी समस्या कभी भी हमें छू भी नहीं पाएगी। सर आपका बहुत बहुत तहे दिल से धन्यवाद है। धन्यवाद अभी शेष है मेरे समकक्ष मिस्टर मुकेश बंसल जी का, जिनके सानिध्य में रहकर उनके अनुभवों का लाभ उठाते हुए हम सही दिशा में अग्रसर हो पाए। सर आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद है। मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगी अपनी सुगठित ऑर्गेनाइजिंग सेक्रेटरीज डॉक्टर ललिता टीम का, डॉक्टर ललिता ढींगा, मिस अंकिता मोहिंद्रा, डॉक्टर प्रीति झा, मिस किरण कालिया का, जिनके अथक प्रयासों ने कार्यक्रम को सफलतम अंजाम दिया। धन्यवाद के पात्र हमारी कुशल ऑर्गेनाइजिंग टीम व टेक्निकल टीम के वो मेंबर्स हैं जिन्होंने एक मजबूत स्तंभ की भांति खड़े होकर कार्यक्रम की प्रत्येक गतिविधि पर अपनी पहली दृष्टि बनाए रखी और सारे कार्य का भार भली भांति वहन किया। थैंक यू सो मच। और मैं आभारी हूँ उपस्थित सभी शिक्षकगण, श्रोतागण व सपोर्टिंग स्टाफ की, जिनकी उपस्थिति और सहयोग ने कार्यक्रम को चार चांद लगाए। अंत में मैं अपनी ओर से व अपनी टीम की तरफ से कार्यक्रम के संचालन व संयोजन में हुई त्रुटियों के लिए क्षमा प्रार्थी हूँ। अब मैं हमारे माननीय प्रिजाइडिंग ऑफिसर श्री डीवी सेठी जी से कार्यक्रम की समाप्ति की अनुमति चाहूंगी। आप सभी को एक बार फिर से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आप सभी का दिन शुभ व मंगलमय हो। धन्यवाद। वैसे धन्यवाद के बाद आने की परंपरा नहीं है, लेकिन जब धन्यवाद शुरू हो गया था तभी हमें पता चल गया था हमसे त्रुटि हो गई है और उसको हम अभी ठीक कर सकते हैं। सारी टीम जो है हमारी ऑर्गेनाइजिंग सेक्रेटरीज और ऑर्गेनाइजिंग सेक्रेटरीज सारे बिंदु मैम ने बहुत काम किया, उनका नाम भी शायद हम नहीं लिख पाए। रश्मि है हमारे पीछे काम करती रही है, अंसारी जी हैं, उन्होंने सबने काम किया। मैं सबसे कहूंगी कि वो आ जाए, पूरी टीम आ जाए। ऑर्गेनाइजिंग सेक्रेटरी लिखा है, ऑर्गेनाइजिंग टीम लिखा है, दैट डजंट मैटर। मैं कन्वीनर्स को बाद में दे दूंगी। कन्वीनर्स से पहले हमारा यंगर स्टाफ आप आइए, सिर्फ आप आए। इन सब ने मिलकर बहुत काम किया है और इनकी वजह से ही प्रोग्राम सक्सेसफुल हुआ है। सारे इकट्ठे आ गए, जो लोग भी हमारे साथ थे सब आप ही आओ। हाँ हाँ भगत से भी आ जाए। आप टीम में नहीं थे विजय जी, आप भी आ जाइए, लेकिन लगातार आप काम में लगे रहे। आ जाइए। हाँ
खाना तो आपने खिलाया।